We all knew that 2021 would be a difficult season for Haas. They decided very early on that they were not going to develop the car and instead fully focus on 2022. And just to make it even more of a difficult season than it already was going to be, they decided to drop both of their experienced drivers in favor of an all-rookie lineup. Now, me saying that this season has not gone well for Haas isn't exactly mind-blowing analysis, but I must admit, even I did not see this going as bad as it is, especially with their two young drivers seemingly at war with each other. The Haas rookie experiment has failed, but where did the team go from here, and has it really been just the drivers to blame? The Haas team, even as I record this video before the Russian Grand Prix, to me seems like a team that is in serious trouble. The reason I want to specify that I'm recording this video before Russia is because even now, their two drivers have already had multiple on and off-track incidents, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if there's more to come at some point later in the season. Everything about the Haas situation just screams of a team out of control. Let's first of all talk about the drivers. Now, why are all of these on-track incidents, sly comments in the media, and just the general feeling of negativity even happening? To put it bluntly and simply, these two drivers aren't racing for the team, they're racing for themselves. The reason for this is the situation that both of these drivers find themselves in during their first ever season in F1. When it comes to Mick Schumacher, although he proved in his junior career that he more than deserved his chance at F1, just like with all drivers with a legendary driver for a relative, they have to justify their position in the sport by showing that it wasn't just the famous last name that has earned them a place in F1. That is why Mick has to drive with a chip on his shoulder, because every single time he underperforms or has a bad weekend, he won't just be criticized like a regular driver, there will always be that undertone of having that Schumacher name and needing to justify it in every single race. And then in Nikita's case, the way he entered F1 with his dad's chemical company being the team's title sponsor, and then most of all the controversy that we all know about, similar to Schumacher but for completely different reasons, he also has a chip on his shoulder because every single race he has to prove that he isn't just a pay driver, and he has to perform under the pressure of knowing that a lot of the fan base is rooting for him to fail. That's why he's trying to race and beat Schumacher so hard, because he knows that if he finishes ahead of Mick, mentally it will allow him to feel like he's silenced the critics who say that he shouldn't be in Formula 1. Now, before we delve any further into the mess that is Haas, let's actually talk about something positive like the sponsor of today's video, who are Surfshark VPN. Now, Surfshark is a virtual private network which is available as an easy-to-use app and browser extension. It allows you to protect your location by placing your laptop or phone anywhere in the world and access the internet as if you were in another country. Now, there are numerous benefits to this, not least of which, by the way, is safety and privacy. But one of the most common uses, for example, is if there is a Netflix show that isn't available in your country, then you can use Surfshark legally and safely to change your location, which then allows you to watch the shows that are available in other countries. Surfshark also has other benefits like cleaning the web and blocking those annoying ads that you see when you're browsing, which is actually my personal favorite feature because it just silently works in the background, making your life easier without you even noticing. Now, these are just a few of the benefits of Surfshark amongst many others, and if you are interested, then follow the link at the top of the description and use my code ALDAS to get 83% off and an extra 3 months for free. Now, on top of all of that, with Surfshark, you also get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there is no risk in trying it out. It's a really great deal that will benefit you and will also help the channel as well. So once again, thank you again to Surfshark. All of these things combined, the car, the team, the drivers, this is a recipe for chaos, and that's exactly what we've seen transpire so far in 2021. In terms of what's actually happened, both of them have had their moments of making rookie errors. Mazepin had his spin debacle during testing and then the early part of the season, and Schumacher has also had his fair share of crashes like in France and Monaco. However, I personally don't care about these because the car isn't exactly easy to drive, and this is their rookie season, so you can understand why, just like Tsunoda, both of them have had some tough moments. What's been the bigger issue for me is their attitude towards each other for the reasons I mentioned earlier, and how that's manifested on the track. Now, I'm not going to go through every single incident that they've had, but from the dangerous driving moves like in Baku, to actual crashes like in Monza, and then the off-track media jibes at each other as well like in Zandvoort, they really have completed the trifecta of a toxic driver pairing, and we're only 2/3 of the way through their first ever season as teammates. Now, literally as I was making this video, and just by coincidence, Nikita Mazepin's Beyond the Grid F1 podcast was released on the F1 channel. Now, both Mick and Nikita have done the podcast, but Nikita's is more up to date, and there was some very interesting insight that he gave over his incident so far with Mick, and if anything is going to change going forward. Now, I do recommend going and listening to this podcast for yourselves, and I'll link it in the description below, because ultimately, there is no better source for what's going on at Haas than the drivers themselves. And the biggest thing that caught my attention in terms of what Nikita said with regards to the frosty on and off track relationship with his teammate was this.
There's a lot going on. A lot and nothing at the same time. I think it's just two young drivers who are willing to get to the top of Formula One and who've been put in a difficult position where realistically, as the year goes on, more and more we can fight with each other only, and it's like all or nothing. I think that potentially impacts his approach to me, but yeah, I'd struggle to say more than that. It is what it is, and I don't know how many years we've got left together, but I don't think it's going to be a smooth ride. And even so now, I like Mick to the bottom of my heart. I think he's a super talented kid who's done an incredible achievement in his career. But that's outside of the circuit. On the track, I don't really care who I'm racing with. I'm racing against a competitor car, and that is the only car at the moment in the last few races that I was able to get in front. So on a personal level, it really doesn't impact.
Well, at least he's honest. But as I mentioned earlier, I think that says a lot about the relationship they now have, and more importantly, the mentality that they have about each other. It's also important to know that this is not something that's going to go away anytime soon. Although officially neither of the Haas drivers are actually confirmed for next season, it's one of those situations where 100% they are going to stay, but the team are just looking for the best time to announce it. Nikita has financial links to the team, and even Mick looks like he'll be happy to just sit tight at Haas instead of wanting out after less than one season. But although the question of the drivers is an issue, I don't want to make it seem like the team itself and the way it's been run by Günther Steiner has been anywhere near good enough. Günther Steiner is someone I've been watching very closely. I was not at all impressed with how he handled the Roman and K-Mag situation over the past couple of years, and I've been very vocal about his future at the team on more than one occasion. Going into this season, this was a chance for Günther Steiner to prove me wrong. It was a chance to show that he had learned from the last few years and that he could handle two drivers to make sure that during this difficult time, the team was the #1 priority and not themselves. Well, time is up, and yet again, I feel like I've been proven right. Although this might sound strange, my biggest problem this season hasn't really been with the drivers, it's been with the management. Because beyond the friction on track, what worries me more is the fact that this team simply wouldn't be on the same level as some of the other teams, even if they had a car that was good enough. For example, on more than one occasion, the management has struggled to hold their drivers back, or maybe even maneuver their drivers using team orders to make sure that the team and not the individual drivers got the best possible result, even if that result was not a points finish. Gunther Steiner is the one on the pit wall that makes these decisions and always has a full view of his drivers, and as mentioned, there have been multiple races and multiple incidents where if the management was more on top of the situation and more assertive with their drivers, some of those incidents and the immediate backlash could have been avoided. In the end, there are a lot of problems at Haas, and it's not easy to just pin the blame on just one thing. I think there is a wider culture issue within the team. Gunther has now shown that he couldn't control Roman and K-Mag, and now before we've even finished their rookie seasons, he's also shown that he's incapable of keeping these two under control as well. The problem is that you can't simply say get rid of Mazepin or get rid of Schumacher, because in the real world, these drivers are still going to be there in 2022, and if nothing changes, then we're still going to be in the same place next season, except this time, Mick and Nikita will be crashing and scrapping for points instead of finishing last. Something has to change. Gunther needs to prove by the end of the season that as the team principal he can tame this driver lineup, and he needs to start seriously getting into these drivers' heads that they're not here to fight each other, they are here to help rebuild the team, which won't happen unless they put their massive egos aside and start working together. To end this video, I have just one last thing to say. Albert Einstein described insanity as doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Although we might not be at insanity with Haas just yet, at the same time, after years and years of turmoil between different teammates, we're not far off either. So, there you have it, another video wrapped up. Now, of course, don't forget to let me know all of your thoughts in the comments box below. And once again, a massive thank you to Surfshark VPN for sponsoring this video. Don't forget, if you are interested, then check out my link at the very top of the description and use my code Aldas to get 83% off and an extra 3 months for free as well. And that includes, of course, a 30-day money-back guarantee. So, yeah, once again, a massive thank you to Surfshark VPN. Anyway, if you did enjoy this video, then don't forget to drop a like and smash that subscribe button to support the channel, and of course I'll see you in the next one.